How do you know if the person you're currently with is the quote unquote one for you? This week, I'm going to be talking about how you can use your intuition to discern whether or not your current love truly is your dream partner. Hi, I'm Eleanor, and welcome to this week's edition of the Intuition Lab. As I record this, we're about 4 days out from Valentine's Day, which is notorious, infamous, and wonderful all at the same time. And because so many people are focused on love and finding the person who's right for them, I thought I'd talk a little bit about it this week. So, first, let's delve into what the concept of the one, that one person who's right for you, really is. And the truth is, for most of us, there is no one person. Usually, there are several individuals who can serve as meaningful potential life partners. And of course, it also depends on your chosen relationship structure. But very few of us have a one and only. And I have been blessed in my life to meet a couple of people, a couple of couples, if you will, who did have that one person who was their lifelong partner. And what did I learn from them? Well, it seemed that there was a sense of rightness when they met this person, often a sense of calm, but not necessarily so. But there was definitely a click, like a soul level, deep click. And the other thing to know is that it wasn't necessarily love at first sight, but recognition at first sight. And of course, this can be a trauma bond or it can be a true deep soul connection. And I will say that when you meet someone who has that the oneness about them, it feels calmer. It feels like a soul knowing. I should also mention that where you are on your path, on your soul's journey through this life, will determine who the one is at that point in time. Because the person who could have been the one in your 20s may not be, if you are still out there and looking for whatever reason, the one in your 40s because you've grown, you've changed, right? So, what I really want to stress here is that just because there aren't angels singing and doves flying over your head, when you meet someone who comes with that feeling of recognition, doesn't mean that they aren't going to be a good potential partner for you. So, let's get into knowing what you want and why that's so important. Well, it's important because you can't get what you want if you don't know what it is. So, get very clear with yourself about what you want at this point in time and who you feel can give it to you. Now, you don't have to necessarily make a list, though, full disclosure, I did when I felt like I was ready to be in a serious long term relationship. I sat with myself, I meditated a little, and I actually wrote out a physical list of qualities I wanted in a person. And yes, some of it was physical. We are human beings, we can be superficial. But also, what was important to me were shared values, how I felt around this person, how they made me feel. So that's very important to know. Non-negotiables. Do you want a family? Do you want to travel? Do you have certain financial expectations? Now, I'm not saying you exclude anyone who doesn't measure up to that, but I encourage you to find a way to get clear on what you want. In my case, I made a list of desired qualities in a partner and I put it away. And when I met the person I eventually married, my husband, he met almost all of the, not even requirements, just everything I had on my list, most of them, like 98%. So I would say it does work because, in a way, your subconscious starts to work on drawing that person to you once you get clear. And I will say, once you meet someone, how do they compare to your quote unquote list, right? And, when you make your list, you're looking at soul needs versus what others around you want. And you really need to filter out what is not important to you that may be important to people around you, because ultimately you have to live with this person, right? So focus on your soul needs. So I encourage you to, I like the idea of a list because you can come back to it. You can also take a look at over time what is you, what are your wants and desires, and what are the wants and desires of people surrounding you, your community, people you hope to impress. Just capture that. But when you are fielding candidates or working on your soul requirements list, how do you feel around this person? So, in theory and in practice, how do you want to feel at the end of the day when you come home and they're there, or you talk to them, either online or in person or via text? Do they make you feel safe? Do they make you feel understood, accepted? These are all very important, but some of us like partners who challenge us. Others of us don't want partners who challenge us. So, definitely make note of that. And I'll also say that if you have met this person, if you are with someone now, or you are, seeing a few people, are you receiving signs from your higher self or the universe about them, especially when you're with them or when you think of them? Let's, for example, if you are out with someone, you're not sure how things are going, and you're on the fence, and maybe you see a few red flags, but you are taking the wind out of those flags because you want it to work, and a hearse drives by. I'm just making this up, right? That might be a sign that maybe you should bring this to an end. But we always get signs about the person we're with. The thing is, whether or not you see them, and I have earlier episodes about how to interpret signs and your ways of connecting with your intuition and receiving guidance. So please have a look. And if I remember, I will tag it in the show notes. But also, just what information are you receiving about them? It's always there. We often choose to ignore it or explain it away because the ego wants what the ego wants, right? Sometimes they say the heart wants what the heart wants, but I think in those cases, it's almost always ego driven on some level. It's when you tune into your intuition consistently and you strip away outer influences that you can really get to what your heart of hearts really wants. Also, continuing on with signs, what is your body telling you? When you think about them, does your stomach churn? I mean, if you read romance novels or watch movies, it's always about, butterflies in your stomach and anxiety. And I'm not really sure that is the best indicator of a true soul connection, because someone can want us to be a better person, right? We have that desire, set aflame within ourselves to change, maybe not necessarily for that person but because that person has triggered that inside of us. But if you have a sinking feeling in your stomach, or you find yourself getting a little sick before you think you are going to go out with them, then that's a sign from your body. Like, do you feel anxious, and not in a good way? Do you feel incredibly nervous? Sometimes when we refuse to see the signs, our body kicks in and tells us, this is not working for you. Are you breaking out in hives? Are you more allergic to things when you are with this person? They may not be the one for you. On the other hand, if you feel soothed, and not in an irrational way, I would say when you are around them, you almost automatically feel like you're being brought back into your energetic 5 zone. And I have an episode about that too, so please check it out if you need clarification. But if you feel that sort of not wired, that sort of slightly energized calm, overall feelings of goodwill and happiness around this person, your body is giving you a strong sign that this person has real potential. Also, what's on the edge of your consciousness when you think about this person? Or Sometimes we even see things out of the corners of our eyes when we are with someone that gives us information. So it's another way of receiving signs from your higher self. You know, what is on the edge of your consciousness? If you sometimes have this slight, not a depressive feeling, but a slight sinking feeling, or like maybe this person isn't being totally honest with you, or maybe you could be happy for a few years, but it wouldn't last long term. You know, that is something to pay heed to as well. It's often these little glimmers of insight that really point us on the path to where we're meant to be. So, when you think about this person, like what's on the edge of your consciousness, also notice what people say. And now people are judgmental, right? But there are Freudian slips. And I think that they are not mistakes. They are our subconscious and our higher selves trying to tell us something. So, are you or people you really care about, whose opinions you value and have proven themselves, not just who you care about, because sometimes we care about people for the wrong reasons, because we want to impress them, because we think they're better than us, or they have something we want, and by currying favor, we can get it too. But if someone has proved trustworthy to you, how do they feel about that person? Because let's face it, if someone is the one, then they are also going to be around the people who are close to you. I mean, ultimately, it is up to you. It could just be that part of your path is being with this person, even though others around you aren't so sure. But in most cases, people who have proven to be trustworthy and caring are very important barometers to consult when you are trying to decide if someone is for you. And I'm not saying everyone has to love them, but there has to be levels of respect, basic respect. Um, a sort of very low level liking. They don't have to be in love with them. That's your job, right? But is this someone who they feel comfortable around? All of these considerations also show you why it's important for you to have and maintain your energetic integrity and a little bit of energetic distance so you can see them clearly. It doesn't mean you ghost them. It doesn't mean you take 4 months to respond to a text because they'll be gone. But you need to be able to maintain your sense of self, stay in your own energy so that you can accurately sense whether or not this person is a good energetic match for you, because that's at the crux of all of this. Are they a good energetic match for you? It's all energy. So to further, help you decide, allow yourself to zoom out. So I'd invite you to, if you have the chance or whenever you have the chance, to sit down, ground, center, and calm yourself. And whichever way you connect with your intuition, I tend to be able to see and feel things most readily. But however you connect, allow yourself to zoom out of where you are now and just see, feel, and experience your future life with them. You can even ask your higher self, like, please show me what a life with this person would be like, what my life with this person would be like. And take real note. I mean, would there be a lot of conflict? Some of us thrive in conflict, others don't. You know, maybe they with time, in your view, become more of a homebody and you're someone who always likes to go out and do things. Also know that not seeing anything is an answer. And that could just mean that it can mean several things, right? And you will have to see which has the most emotional and intuitive resonance for you. But not seeing anything is that they are not meant to progress beyond where you are now. Or it can also mean that more information is forthcoming, and you can always ask your higher self, is there something else I need to know about this person? And sometimes the answer you get is they are fine for right now, but maybe they don't go the distance, or these things have to change in order for this relationship to go to the distance. And then it's up to you to rationally decide, okay, now that I've had this intuitive view, is this something I want to go along with? Remember that first intuitive impressions are almost always correct. And this isn't about seeking hurt or a trauma bond or knowing on some level that maybe you can try and rehash unresolved issues and do it right this time. Let me tell you, that doesn't work. You have to resolve your issues before you're fully able to be available for someone or willing to put an energetic boundary between you and your issues and this person and your relationship with them so you can work on it. But your first intuitive impressions are often correct. And for this, I'm just going to bring up a quick example of a coworker of mine from about 20 years ago. He and his wife, who are still together today, met on their first day of college, or like in the first day or two of college. He walked into a lecture with his buddy, saw a woman there, and said, "That is the person I'm going to marry." And his friend, of course, thought it was nonsense, but they ended up meeting and they ended up getting married. So sometimes you just know, there's just this recognition. And always check in with your gut. Always consult your intuition if you go forward. I would say, even in a long term relationship, consult your gut. Like, what is going on here? What do I need to do to be a better partner? Where is this relationship going? How should I act in this situation? These are very important practices to maintain. Remember, being in a relationship is a choice. Knowing if someone is the one for you is a choice you make on many levels. You make it consciously because you can consciously work on a relationship, but I would say don't put in conscious work unless you have like this intuitive connection, this knowingness that this is someone you want to pursue something with. And I just wish you the best of luck in finding that person for you who's right for you right now. So I'm sending you so much love. And if you celebrate, have a wonderful Valentine's or Galentine's Day. And if you are alone or in a less than ideal situation, find some small way to be good to yourself. And if you would like a little bit of assistance in being good to yourself, I invite you to join Pathfinders, my free community, where I offer intuitive guidance and tools that you can use right now to navigate your life and just have it run more smoothly. So, are you still searching for the one? Do you have any candidates who you feel could be the one? Or have you met the one? Are you still together? I'd love to know. So please leave me a comment and I will talk to you soon. Take good care. Bye now.